welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel, and here is today's question. Well, actually questions. In typical Ask Jeff format, there are multiple question marks on this card. It says, since God created the heavens and the earth, does that mean that he created Satan? If so, would he create Satan if he knew what would happen? Now that's an interesting question because God did not create Satan. He created Lucifer. In fact, the Bible says in Isaiah chapter 14 that Lucifer was the one who fell and became Satan. The term Lucifer or the name Lucifer means the lighted one. And this is where things need to be clarified scripturally. In the book of Ezekiel chapter 28, whom we know as Lucifer, had a very special designation. He is called a cherubim. Now, a cherubim is a very rare form of angelic being. If we were to categorize the angels, you have your everyday run-of-the-mill angels. You have seraphim that are mentioned in Isaiah chapter 6. They're the holy ones. They're the ones that are into purity and holiness and righteousness. Then there are the cherubim. They are the authoritative angels. In fact, in Ezekiel chapter 28, we discovered that there are actually 5 cherubim that are mentioned in the Bible. 4 of them we don't have a name for. They're on the 4 corners of the throne of God that is pictured moving to and fro throughout all the universe. Chapters 1 and 10, kind of that kind of mystical kind of writing that we have with the wheel with the eyes inside and out. But in chapter 28, it says there is a cherubim over the throne of God, and his name was Lucifer. It says that he had tabrets that were beautiful. He had a gorgeous voice. Technically, he was the worship leader of the universe. But what happened? In Isaiah chapter 14, it said that he desired to ascend above the clouds to put his throne above the Lord. So to answer the question, God did not create Satan. God created Lucifer, the lighted one, to lead worship of himself. Now, why would he create a being, any being, that would do what Lucifer did? Well, one of the things we need to understand, and it's really a twofold answer here, is according to Ezekiel chapter 28, iniquity was found in Lucifer's heart. In other words, allow me to define 2 words for you, good and bad. If I tell you it was a good meal, you know what that means. If I tell you it was a bad meal, you know it means it wasn't good. In fact, that's actually the definitions of those 2 words. When he found iniquity in his heart, what that means is here was a being that was created, that there was no sin in his life, there was no iniquity in his life, and by pulling himself away and saying, I want to do it my way, much like we did in the Garden of Eden, he was pulling from an absence of good, and therefore iniquity was found in him. God does not create, nor does he tempt sin, but he does create cherubim, angels, and humanity with a conscience and a compassion or a capacity to make a decision for themselves. 2 Peter 2:4 talks about the angels that left their first estate. In Genesis chapter 3, it says that humanity desired to eat of the forbidden fruit. Any time, whether it be humanity, angels, or even a cherubim, that we make a conscious decision not to do it God's way, but our way, we are pulling from his holiness, his righteousness, his innate goodness, and iniquity is found in us. God does not create sinful creation, whether it be a cherubim or whether it be humanity. Very insightful question. God didn't create Satan. He created Lucifer, who had the capacity to pull away in sin, which unfortunately he did, and he sent the entire universe in a sideways motion toward what we know as sinful behavior contrary to God. Great question. If you want to submit your question, askjeff.net, and maybe your question will be tomorrow's. Thanks for being a part of today's daily question. Now, we answer a question each and every day. Please feel free to submit a new question at askjeff.net. We may not have gotten to yours today, but we eventually will continue to be a part of this. Subscribe so you don't miss out on a question every day.